advising when you can rejoin. The meeting is now being recorded, and I'll take the sederunt for this meeting of the Housing and Technical Resources Committee Special held on 23rd of January 2023. We have apologies from Councillor Bradley with Councillor Toner deputising. I've noted we have Councillor Brogan present, Councillor Archie Buchanan, I think must be apologies. I have Councillor Matthew Buchanan, Councillor Kalikis, Convery, Cooper, all present, as well as Councillor Cowan, Councillor Devlin, Councillor Dewar present. Is Councillor Fagan present? No. I have apologies from Councillor Faulkner with Councillor Walken as a substitute. Councillor Ferguson is present and Councillor Fulton. Councillor Gowland? Yes, apologies. I have apologies from Councillor Gray with Councillor Johnston Dempsey deputising. Apologies from Councillor Hamilton, and also present Councillors Lambie, Lennon, Lockhart, Councillor Mars, McCallan, McCreary, Councillor McLaughlin, Councillor Ray and Councillor Shearer. Thank you. I'll pass back to the Chair.
Thanks very much, Helen. Before I go into the business of the meeting, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the tenant representatives on the Budget Scrutiny Group and the Tenant Participation Coordination Group. Yet again, the tenant representatives on these groups have worked with us to help to develop and deliver a broad programme of customer engagement in this year's budget and to shape the proposals in front of us today. While we face some particular challenges this year, the commitment, knowledge and experience of the tenant representatives undoubtedly placed us in a strong position to ensure tenants' views have been appropriately considered in developing the budget for 23-24. So, well done, everybody involved. So, item 2 on the agenda is Housing Revenue and Capital Account Budget 23-24. Oh, sorry. Declarations of interest. Any declarations of interest? No. Okay. Item 2 then. Housing Revenue and Capital Account Budget 23-24. Stephen, can I ask you to take us through this report, please?
That's it. Thanks very much. Good afternoon, everyone. The purpose of this report is to summarise the assumptions and estimates for the HRA Business Plan 2023-24. I'll tell you what's underpinned the proposed rent increase, and I'll explain and seek endorsement for a capital programme of £63.916 million. Most of the details in Section 3. Section 3 sets out the HRA for the capital programme. Also confirms that this has been done in accordance with a 30-year business plan. It clarifies that the proposals reflect our investment priorities, in fact, your investment priorities, which are to maintain housing stock and to improve the housing stock in compliance with the Scottish Housing Quality Standards and the new ISH2 standards for energy efficiency. Section 3 will also tell you that we'll be increasing the supply of new council housing. We'll have a continuation of environmental works, and we'll continue our legislative works linked to property compliance. If I could drill into some of the detail, I could draw your attention to Section 3.2, talks about movements in the budget, and these are set out in Appendix 1. These are for a combination of reasons which we can explain to you, cover various issues including management costs, repairs and maintenance costs, borrowing costs, and add up to a total of £6.8 million next year. Section 3.3 advises that we've set a provision of bad debt for £3.524 million next year, using a 3.5% increase. This section also advises that there's £150,000 within that amount for tenancy sustainment measures next year. Members will recall that the Scottish Government passed the Cost of Living Tenant Participation Scotland Act in October 2022, and this Act prevented rent increases in the period to the end of March. The report confirms that that's no longer applying, and we are proposing a rent increase of 3.5% next year. This equates to £2.67 per week, which is 50% less than the COSLA approved amount of £5 per week. It would retain South Lanarkshire Council as one of the, among its local authority peers, as charging one of the lowest rents, and it would retain us as charging the lowest rent of social landlords in South Lanarkshire. The HRA business plan also assumes annual efficiency savings, and these are set out in section 3.8. It confirms that these add up to a total of £278,000, and yet again I can confirm that this doesn't affect service delivery. Section 3.9 of the report refers to a meeting that took place on the 18th of this month, so it's a meeting that's now passed, and it talked about the potential of a potential saving, I should say, for second home council tax. The report explains the implications. I can't give you feedback on that because it's subject to full council discussion, which will take place next month. Section 4 outlines the HRA capital programme, and it confirms that it's aligned to the 30-year programme or a 30-year business plan. It repeats our commitment and it explains that we will continually seek to improve our properties in compliance with EIS2 and in compliance with Scottish Housing Quality Standards. This section also makes reference to the council decision towards the end of last year with our commitment to build an extra 1,300 homes over the next 5 years. A full breakdown of the capital programme you'll find in Appendix 2. Section 5 talks about tenant consultation, and it talks about, going back a bit, talks about the feedback for tenant satisfaction survey. We received the results towards the end of last year, where almost 95% of tenants who responded advised that they thought that the rent represented value for money. It explains that the consultation took place on a number of key issues. It took account of inflation, the cost of living crisis. Along with tenants and residents, we talked about our investment priorities, we talked about increased costs, and our challenges for meeting energy efficiency just now and into the future. But it was broad consensus with tenants, with the Budget Scrutiny Group and the Tenant Participation Coordination Group to support the proposed 3.5% rent increase for next year. Section 5.5 also summarises or also gives a summary of the feedback from the independent survey conducted by the Tenants Information Service. Finally, the report comes with recommendations which are set out in section number 2. I ask you to endorse a rent increase of 3.5%. And based on that 3.5% increase, I ask you to endorse a capital programme of £63.916 million. And finally, it comes with a recommendation that this report be endorsed by the Executive Committee before full council approval. I'm joined by some colleagues and we're now happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Stephen. I'll move that recommendation or those recommendations. Second. Thank you very much. Is there any questions? David Shearer. Hi, David.
Thank you, Chair. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Thank you. I'd like to thank the officers and welcome this report. I think it should be noted that in these difficult times, the department still has managed an investment programme of £63 million. That's got to be welcomed by our tenants and by all suppliers to South Lanarkshire Council. That's a job well done. I think the officers should be congratulated. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks very much for your kind words, and they're sitting here as well, and they're hearing your comments. So thank you, Councillor Shearer. I have no other questions or comments, so that brings us to a close, I think. So thank you very much, everyone, for your attendance.
Thank you.
Cheers.